It's summertime, so it's high season for transfer and high season, even higher, for transfer rumors. And we need to talk again, Shaka, about Cristiano Ronaldo. The latest rumor is that Jorge Mendes is pushing pretty hard to make him room at Atletico de Madrid, the fiercest Real Madrid rivals in the capital of Spain. How do you see that move? Do you think that it's possible, that it's feasible? And what does it say about Cristiano Ronaldo and about Atletico de Madrid as well?
Well, first of all, let me say Manchester United are sticking to their line that he's not for sale and he's part of Ten Hag's plans. Okay, but agents do as agents do, and they try to find ways to move their players on. But Atletico Madrid of all clubs is the one that makes least sense to me. Of all the clubs in world football that can afford Cristiano Ronaldo, and let's be honest, there's only a handful, Atletico doesn't make any sense to me at all. Not just because of his time at Real, but because of his own personal history with that club. And while Atleti fans, I'm sure if he does arrive, will embrace him and take him on board as one of their own, especially if he starts scoring goals. Right now, there are protests around this, and you can understand why. But as I just mentioned, Alex, football is a fickle game. Football fandom, even more so. So as if Cristiano Ronaldo arrives somehow and he scores goals, I think fans forget about it. But as we sit right now, I just don't see how this makes any sense.
No, me neither. Do you see him fitting into the high press system of Diego Simeone, or do you think he would make an exception as he did with Luis Suarez 2 seasons ago, and it worked out perfectly, by the way?
It will have to make an exception for Ronaldo. He just doesn't have the legs that he once did. And when you bring Ronaldo in, especially Ronaldo, or current day Ronaldo, you're bringing him in as an inside the 18-yard box striker and little more. You can't ask anything else of Ronaldo at his age.
Well, let's move on with another name. What about Denzel Dumfries to Manchester United, the Dutch right wing back for Inter Milan? They need to sell. The Italian team need money desperately. And do you think it would be a good fit for Manchester United? He has a very offensive profile. So he's very different from Wan-Bissaka, from the other right back that already Manchester United have in the roster.
I like Dumfries a lot, and I think he fits in perfectly well. Attack-minded, far better defensively than Wan-Bissaka. I think he slots in quite seamlessly into Ten Hag's system. A player who, well, he would have seen a lot of from his days in the Eredivisie. And if we're talking about Inter Milan, a club that needs to sell, that only brought him in, they paid some like 15 million euros for him last year. It's not going to break the bank. I think if you're Manchester United, you recognize that you can get him at a reasonable price in terms of today's football. I think the signing of Dumfries in addressing a position that you've struggled with over the last 18 months makes a lot of sense on a number of levels.
And he is also a Dutchman as the new Manchester United manager, Erik ten Hag, so the adaptation would be easier for him. I totally agree. It makes total sense. What about Timo Werner, the Chelsea striker, would be looking for different pastures for next season. Where do you think he would fit in? I have a clear option, Bayern Munich, because he would reunite with Julian Nagelsmann, who brought the best of him 2 seasons ago. Do you think that's possible? Where could he go from now?
I'm not sure that Bayern is the right fit. And now, again, talking about clubs who can afford players, given the money that Werner is on, there aren't many, right? But if money is no object, as of right now, I think Werner's best option is to go back to Leipzig, where he had so much success. I say that. I reiterate, money being no option. Now, here's my concern with Timo Werner, or to your question, Alex, about a move to Bayern Munich. I think that is that is a step up from Chelsea to Bayern is a step up.
It is indeed.
And while it's reuniting with a manager that he knows and had a lot of success under, while it's going to a league that again he knows and had a lot of success in, my concern is around Werner's confidence. And it has taken an almighty hit during his time at Stamford Bridge, to the point where even when he puts on a German shirt now, I think he looks a shadow of the player that he once was. Mm-hmm. So again, I'll keep saying it, money being no object, going back to Leipzig for me maybe makes the most sense, where he's loved, where he knows the team, he knows the city, and they will give him the time to refine his confidence. A move upwards to Bayern Munich, I don't think affords him that kind of room that he needs.
An alternative option for him, which would mean going back to Germany as well, if they can afford it, as you said, could be going to Borussia Dortmund, which have a style that I think it would fit for him, quick transitions, more spaces than Bayern Munich, that he would find at Bayern Munich. If they can afford him, that could be a good option for both ends, for the club and for the team, right?
Absolutely. Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund are a team that play in transition. And while Werner has struggled in the box, he's pacey and still very dangerous with the ball at his feet, and would slot in very nicely, would fit in very nicely to a system such as Dortmund's, where they're coming from a lot deeper, they're running into more space, and his pace would be a huge asset.
Okay, so Werner, let's say that he doesn't go to Bayern Munich, but they still need a striker. They're about to sign a French youngster from Rennes, but they're still looking for another number 9 to replace Lewandowski. I think that the perfect fit would be Harry Kane, but the question is, are the Spurs willing to sell him? I don't think so.
Well, if last summer Manchester City's interest is anything to go by, absolutely not. I don't know how you replace Harry Kane. That's an issue that Bayern Munich are having right now with Robert Lewandowski. And let's be honest, they're the 4 best strikers in the world. And I'm not going to get into the debate now about the order, but you're talking Harry Kane, Lewandowski, Haaland, and Benzema. Mm-hmm. One just left. The other 2 you are not getting. So you understand the interest, Bayern's interest in Harry Kane. Maybe Daniel Levy is more willing to sell to a club that aren't competing in the Premier League, but we know that the price is going to be up around the 150 million mark that Spurs turned down last season. And while I know Harry Kane has got 2 years left on his contract, so something has got to give, and very soon. Given Daniel Levy's own history, I'm not sure that he wavers very far from that 150 million mark. I'm not sure that Bayern Munich are willing to spend that money. They have it, whether they're willing to spend it, who knows? But he's the only player capable of coming close to filling a void that Lewandowski left.
I absolutely agree. And let's talk about another name. Let's talk about Harvey Barnes, the Leicester offensive midfielder that is linked to Newcastle for around £50 million. That is pretty expensive.
It is. But Harvey Barnes, I think a couple of years ago, no one would have blinked at paying that kind of money to Harvey Barnes. But then through injury and a little bit loss of form, I don't think he stood out in the way that he has since. But given who Newcastle are, given Eddie Howe and how he continues to grow this club, I'm not questioning a whole lot of Eddie Howe and his vision. I think he's doing a wonderful job there. Harvey Barnes at his best, very creative midfielder who gives you goals, who gives you assists. So I am not at all critical of this signing from a Newcastle perspective. If Eddie Howe can get the best out of Harvey Barnes, 50 million is well, or will be well worth it.
It always depends on the performance. If the player scores goals and creates chances, no matter what you paid for him, it's going to be cheap by the end of the contract.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.